in your presence, the redemption on your face. Your heart's forever for me. Even if I look away, you still call my name. You call my name. Could you be this good? Could you be this good? The way that you forgive me, the way that you hold on to me. Could you be this good? I love the rest that grows inside me as I see more of your grace. I love the courage you inspire and the hope you call awake when you say my name. When you say my name. Could you be this good? Could you be this good? The way that you forgive me, the way that you hold on to me. Could you be this good? Could you be this good? Could you be this good? The way that you forgive me, the way that you hold on to me. Could you be this good? You kept no record of wrongs. You know me now by your son. There's only love in your eyes. My God is strong. He'll do anything big or small. Nothing is impossible for a super wonderful God. Every day I can know God is always there for me and my family. Every day I can know greater is the one who lives inside me. Super big, super strong, super wonderful God. Super big, super strong, super wonderful God.
So this is going to be our last online chapel of the year. I invite all of you guys to join us next week. It'll be a little bit later, but for the middle school and high school chapel, I hope you guys can join in on that because we're gonna have a sweet time together for that next week. But this week, I invited some special guests to come and join me today and just kind of talk about the year and talk about you and y'all's experiences together as a school this year. I think you'll recognize these people. They love you a whole bunch, and our teachers wanted to join in for this last chapel. So we had a conversation earlier, and I recorded it so I could share it with you guys. I hope you enjoy it. They love you so big. You are so loved by these ladies. So enjoy this conversation that I had with our elementary teachers. So, good morning, ladies. Thank y'all for being here. I'm so glad you can join us. I want to hear from you girls what some of your favorite memories were of this year at our last chapel. I thought it'd be fun to just kind of reminisce over this crazy, wild, fun year we've had. So, Miss Sharon, this was your first year with us. You had our first North Charleston class. What stands out to you as sweet memories from the year?
I was welcomed to the school by just the sweetest group of parents who have been so just active in their children's lives and just so sweet and giving. And the students, it was a blessing just to have 5 kids was just a blessing because I could spend so much time and get to know them so much better than I would the class of 20 or more. And they are such sweet children. They loved on one another. They encouraged one another. We prayed together. They all learned the Lord's Prayer, which was amazing. I'm praying that they carry that with them until the day they have their own children and can kneel down beside them at bedtime and say that prayer. It was just a fabulous year. My most favorite moment was when we carved the pumpkin and all the squeals and the giggles when they had the goo all over their hands. And we made a little face on it, and then we took it outside and we made elephant toothpaste, and we invited the middle schoolers, and it just went woo, and they were like yee, and I love those kind of moments. I love it. Such a blessing.
That's beautiful. I love that too. That was such a special class, and you were such a wonderful teacher. Miss Amber, this was your first year teaching kindergarten first at Crown. Maggie Ann got to be in your class, which was super fun to get to know you from that perspective. You did such a good job. What stands out to you from this year?
The general heart of each of the kids has been overwhelming, really. Just each day to come in with a classroom full of kids who have unique personalities, who have their unique interests, and then to collectively have such a sweet family, all just to see a little family developing where they're checking on one another when somebody's not there. They're very interested as to why. Miss Amber, Olivia's not here this morning. We need to pray for her during our calendar time. Just their love for each other. The smiles that they would give each other and the hugs that they would share, because of the separation time, I miss that. And the scope of what I would say would be my favorite memories is really shifted because of how the end of the year has shifted. My favorite memories are the connectivity, the times that they would run in and give me a big hug and to hug each other. We really take things for granted. When you don't have it anymore is when you really realize that those are awesome, special moments. So it stands out to me just the opportunity to reach out and touch my kids in a sweet, gentle way, a mothering way, because I think I teach the way I mother. I'm very affectionate and verbally affirming, and it's so hard to do that, and it was, I had so many ideas of celebrating mile markers in their learning experiences towards the end when things were really going to start progressing, and we didn't get to do that. So we just had to we had to improvise. So when we were finished, we got to jump on beds and on sofas instead of having a party or having ice cream or fixing cookies in the kitchen. We just jumped on beds and sofas and found another way to connect emotionally and to have fun. So that's really stood out to me is just the love of the classroom and how much they connect, and truly seeing that via Zoom as well, that it's really no different. It's just the physical touch is gone, but the emotional connection is still there. And the celebratory aspect of their milestones were still very much celebrated. It just felt different. It looked different, but nonetheless, it was still the same. And that really stood out. I love, my favorite memories were our applesauce that we made. You would have thought that it was the greatest thing on the planet for them. The oohs and the ahs and the little heads hovering over the crock pot. It was so precious. The odor that filled the classroom, you know, shout out to Miss Katie for that idea. That was such a great idea. It was such a wonderful experience. And they had their little scientific paper, and they were tasting the apples and what tasted this and that, and they were serious. And that was really special and very sweet. And our landform thing we did, that was super fun. They got to use caulking for water, and I mean we used all this stuff, cotton balls and glitter, and you know, who knew that I would get to do that? That wasn't something I expected. So that was really awesome too. So lots of crafts, lots of fun stuff with crafts.
And well said about how well they love each other, even though they can't, you can't be together. And I see that in every single class on campus. In all of you elementary classes. I just think the kids have learned to really love each other well, which is one of my favorite things. Yeah. Miss L'Oreal, how about you? What stands out to you for this year?
I think we had such a great year. We had between Natasha, Miss Natasha's class and I, we had a wonderful family of children, and we had a lot of fun. We had a group with a tremendous amount of characters in it. Lots of fun nicknames, and we made, with Miss Natasha's guidance and not mine, pickles and jam, and I tried to make ornaments, didn't work out so well. With what was it called? The dough that Natasha gave me the recipe for. Anyways, I didn't do a very good job with it, but we had so much fun. But I think one of the coolest things, or one of the top coolest things, was the opportunity to grow, start seeds, and then plant them into our garden with the children, and that we all had the opportunity to build that together. I want to say, I don't know. There's so many. I love how all of my kids, they just loved each other. They're so goofy. It was the best. Fridays were awesome. You know, I don't know what else. I'm drawing a blank. Natasha, you have to help me.
We kind of work together. We're always together. And it seemed like this year we had a group of kids, and every year we have a group of kids who want to love and squeeze on you, but not like this year. This year we had a group of kids, and I guess that's sort of the theme throughout all of us, but this year we had a group of kids who really loved well. There's not a single day that I came into work thinking, oh my gosh, I got this and this and this and this, like a laundry list of things to do, and I get that one hug that makes the laundry list look like it's this big. You know, it makes everything else go away. All the bad things or the worries that I had, I'd get one hug first thing in the morning as soon as they walk in the door, and it make everything like it just didn't matter.
Kids let us be us. The kids let Miss Natasha and I be our goofy selves.
And I agree with L'Oreal. Like, the seedlings for me was my moment my favorite moment from the school year. And we had a bunch, because I still have littles right now that are sending me pictures of them making jam at home with their families, and making pickles at home with their families, and writing essays that I didn't even assign, because they learned to love to write. And so like, we have these moments where we get to see like all the things we taught this year, we get to see them manifest at home by themselves through these computers. And at first I was like, oh man, I'm gonna stink at this. But thank God he gave me the foresight to lay the foundation, so that like I just get to watch now. And it's so much fun. And we got like these little, we planted our garden from seedlings, thanks Miss Sharon. And
Yes.
we have all these little baby seeds. I mean, they're the tiniest little seeds ever. And you see these little sprouts come up. And now
Every morning.
corn stalks out in the backyard.
Every morning we'd walk into the trailer, and we'd be like, look, there it is, our little babies.
And I
You're
feel
alive.
like that's about our kids too, because when they came,
Yes.
especially the fourth graders, they were these little seeds. Like Lathan was saying earlier today, like L'Oreal and I had to figure out what type of food each kid needed in order to grow and to be successful and to walk into what God has for them. And I feel like I got to watch that this year. So this year for me was way different than my previous 2 years, because I kind of got to step back and go, oh my gosh, I did that. Yes. So I felt like a teacher this year.
Yeah, it was a wonderful group. I'm gonna miss our rising fifth graders. We're gonna miss our squad. But the sixth grade teachers are inheriting a magnificent group of kids.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna miss them. So.
What about Miss Hannah? Do you think that Miss Natasha and Miss L'Oreal are inheriting a wonderful group of kids?
Yeah, you're taking all my kiddos. No, I'm just kidding. I think number one, first of all, just seeing what the Lord has done for us as a team this year has been really cool. I've never felt closer to the teachers on our team, and I just feel like God has really put these women together, and it's a dream team. And that really shows with the last project that I did with my class. You know, I'm kind of lone island over here, the only second and third grade class, and it really just everyone stepped in and helped out, and it just took off. And it was just amazing what God did and what he can do when there's not a spirit of competitiveness, but there's a spirit of collaboration. And I just really love that. I love being a part of a team that fosters that, and I can see that every day. So thank you, ladies. Also, I think just alone in our classroom, you know, there was 2 classes and then morphing into 1. It was an interesting dynamic in the beginning because, you know, I had a lot of different personalities. And so I think watching them grow and watching them be friends to each other this year was absolutely amazing. And just seeing how at the beginning, I'll be honest, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. Like, how am I going to reach all these different children who are just kind of all different levels of personalities? And it just really, they really came together. And at the end there, we were just a class, you know, we were a full class of family that worked together and knew what each other needed and knew when to back up when someone was upset and, you know, all that stuff. So it was just amazing to see what God did in second and third grade. And I think my absolute favorite memory, I have a lot, and most of them involve CJ's personality. But I think my favorite memory is our first PBL project we did. We worked on endangered animals in our area. And the kids, you know, it's difficult for us to find as teachers something that we're interested in and we love and we're passionate about, but that you're also passionate about, and finding that to come together. And so I think with that project, we really did. I was so passionate about it. They were passionate about it. And we ended up raising almost $300 for the Red Wolves, and to be able to go to the CWE Center and give them that money, and for them to receive it so well in our bag that we created, our reusable bag. It was just really, really fun to see PBL in action and to see it work out and do what Crown does and be leaders in our community. And so it was just really awesome. I think it was a great year. And was this the ending I wanted for this year? No, but I think that the kids really stepped up and the family stepped up, and education was still happening and we were still learning, and it just looked different. And Miss Hannah had to pull out a lot more costumes, and it had to happen. So there you go. And maybe now costumes every day in the classroom will happen. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not making any promises.
Let's be real clear. Miss Hannah, you loved all that costume.
I mean, I may or may not have loved every second of that. But just to see the embarrassment in real life on the children's faces would be more rewarding for me as a person.
Probably
Yeah.
true, yeah. Well, I love you guys so much. I agree with everything that you guys said. I think about those, I kind of got the bird's eye view, getting to pop in on some of those situations. I think back to some of those kids in Hannah's class, and at the beginning, how they struggled to get along. And then some of those became some of the best friends, the way they looked out for each other. And I think that can probably summarize everything that has been said and kind of tied together this chapel talk, would be just to say that the importance of loving each other well. I just think it is always, always, always going to get you through any circumstance you face. And when it's hard and when you're not getting along with people, or when you're frustrated or you feel down or whatever else, to be able to ask the Holy Spirit to help you love people when it's hard. He delights so much in meeting us in that place and helping us to love. It's who he is, and it's what he does. And so I hope that our students will all think about that during the summer when we're away from each other until we come back to school in August. Just that during the summer, that let's just keep loving each other. You guys have all proven that you love each other well at school. Now you get to go and do it as missionaries in our community, in your own homes, in your own families, in your neighborhood. And so I'm excited to hear how the fruit of that continues to grow. Like y'all were talking about your seedlings, the seeds that our students have planted in each other's lives of loving each other well. We now get to, they get to see those things grow in their neighborhoods. So I'm excited to hear about all of that when we get reunited again. All right, anybody else have anything else to add? I know you guys have to go. I love you all. I miss you. Thanks for joining us for chapel today.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.
Hi, Miss Katie.
Hi.
I'm so happy that I get to see you. I've missed you so much.
I missed you too.
So Miss Katie, tell us what of all that happened this year. You had such a sweet class of students. Tell me what was their personality like? Like if you could describe this group of kids, what kind of words come to mind?
Oh gosh, sweet, kind, loving, never fighting, just hugging, always wanting to be each other's friends. I could go on and on and on. They just loved each other. Genuinely, honestly, loved each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Your group felt like such a family. The way they looked out for each other and really loved each other so well. Do you recognize where I'm at, Miss Katie?
I do. That's my classroom. I miss my classroom. Aw. Just like I left it.
I know, just like you left it. I haven't made a mess.
You didn't play with any toys?
This is my first day coming back in here, and it's just so bittersweet because I love seeing the rooms, but I really love seeing the rooms with the kids and with the teachers in them. So I miss everybody being here. But well, it's funny, you don't know the conversation that I had with the other teachers just a few minutes ago when I asked them the same types of questions about their students, and they all agreed that their kids were the same way. Just loving was the word that kept coming out.
Yeah.
So what do you think, if you could tell your kids something you probably already have, but one of the things I talked about with the other teachers is how it's been really special to see these students come together and love each other so well at school. but we've been without each other for a couple months now, and now we're going to still have several months ahead of a summer before we get reunited again at school. So what can you tell our students about like how they can take that out into the world or into their families? Like, you know, how do they love the other kids in their neighborhood or whatever else? How do they love them like they did the other kids in their class?
Well, I know that on our Zooms, they talk a lot about their friends. They might have like one or two neighborhood friends that they've been hanging out with. And so like they play, like they go biking, or one of them does these little ramp things on their bike, and then they just play with the others. And they tell me things that they talk about, and things that they talk about with their friends are things that we have learned and incorporated in our classroom. And it's so, so sweet. One of the moms jumped in a Zoom one day and she said that two of the little girls, neighborhood girls, were kind of like fighting a little bit. And the student in my class, she jumped in and she said, y'all are not being very kind with each other. I know y'all are sisters, but you're not being kind. We need to love each other. Let's start this game again.
Yay!
Yay! And I could say that person's name, then you would say, oh, that's so typical of that person. But for the whole class, it's very typical of the whole class. And I've heard
Yes.
a lot of, even the kids would tell me about playing with their neighborhood friends. And they say these things all the time. And so, yeah, this is how they kind of like work this into their families, and being kind with their brothers and sisters. They're just kind kids anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it helps that they're so kind to start with. But I think it's a good reminder when you spend a lot of time in your house with the family and you're not able to go as many places anymore. I know sometimes in our house, we just have to be reminded of the importance of being kind, and then the fruit that comes out of that. Like the kids in your class are such good friends with each other now, but it's because they spent months and months and months being kind to each other and loving each other. And so I just think that's a good reminder for all of us to think about that in these next few months, because I think we all need that. Like, I can think about kids in your class, maybe they were having a bad day or frustrated about something, and then somebody else was kind to them.
Yeah. And
what a difference that makes in their life. So I would love for our students to continue to do that. I'm not surprised one bit that a student in your class did that, because we saw it all the time. But just keep it up, Crown kids. Just keep loving your community, keep loving your family, because that's who you are. And it just makes such a difference in the world.
Yes. Definitely.
All right, Miss Katie, do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
Well, I would definitely say one thing that really sticks out in my mind, two things. Whenever we would have morning time on our puzzle carpet, and we would go over the calendar, and then I would do devotions. Well, I always read out of the same book. And at first of the year, the kids are like, ho hum, she's reading out of this book, blah, blah. As the year goes on, the kids get closer and closer to me as I'm reading. They're right at my feet, and then they're like this. It's like they're soaking up every single
Wait. I laughed, so they're not going to be able to see. What do they do again?
So they're soaking up every single word that I say. And then I'm starting to realize, wow, this is so big to them. Some of these kids, some of the stories they've never heard before. Some of the stories some of these kids have heard over and over and over. But the way I tell it is different than maybe the way they heard it at church. And it's just so, so cool. And it makes my heart so happy to look at their little faces, and the way as they grow over the year, and the way they look at me, and the way they just drink up all the spiritual and all the God that I give them, and or that God gives me, or however that works. It's just really, it's such a blessing to see them grow in that way. And I don't even think that they realize that they're growing in that way, but they really are. Two of them told me, because I asked them in our Zooms, what do you miss the most about our classroom? Two of them said our morning puzzle time. I mean, our
Wow,
devotion.
sweet.
Yeah, morning devotion. The other thing that I would say would be a fun memory would definitely be our time that we had spending together at the variety show and learning the variety show dance.
That was so good.
It was so much fun. The dance was intense. So we spent many hours learning that dance, but it was so much fun. So much fun. They got it. They loved it. They loved each other. They just had a lot of fun learning a dance that I really wasn't sure they were going to be able to learn, but they got it. They got all those costume changes. It was just amazing. It was really good. Really, really good. So that was
Awesome.
a big one for me.
Yeah, that was a great memory. I loved that. Was lots of costume changes.
Lots of
It's so cute. So cute. Oh, Miss Katie, I love you. I miss you.
I love you.
Let's talk again soon sometime.
Sounds good. I got lots of time.
Bye, Miss Katie.
Bye.
All right, you guys, that is a wrap for Chapel for 2019-2020 school year. This is not at all what we thought we would be doing at the end of the school year. Me being in this big room for Chapel without you here. But I hope you guys know that you are so loved. I hope you know that you are loved by your teachers and by your school, but most of all, you are loved by God, who made you for a purpose, who loves you, and he is so glad that you're his kid. Thank you so much, you guys, for loving each other well, and I encourage you to keep on doing it until we can be back together again in August. I love you. Mwah.